just taste the soup. All right, I'll taste the soup. Where's the spoon? Aha! Aha!
Well, every week about this time, we get to hear the old man bark out, taste the soup, aha, where's the spoon, all that good stuff. And Taste the Soup is basically all about us talking about whatever the hell we want to talk about, which is what we do every week. And get to thank the crew for doing a great job as always. So Connor Caldwell, thank you so much for doing what you do. Great job as always. Jacob Dedamore, producing the show, doing a great job as always. And, of course, Ryan Baldwin, he's right there. He's doing a great job as always. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. And we thank you guys. Right there. Thank you. Thank you for listening. The AL West race, just to remind everybody, is on like a you-know-what, and the Astros and the Rangers are getting after each other, and the Rangers are still in first place, and the Rangers freak out because every time they lose, they're nervous because the Astros could be catching them, but the Astros have lost twice in a row to the hot Seattle Mariners, who are on. Sorry, they're on fire.
Only team hotter is the Dodgers over in the National League right now.
Crazy. So Seattle is on their tails, 4 games out, and play the Astros again today. And Seattle's got the Astros numbers, so it's going to be fun the last month and change of the season. We'll see what happens with that. Reminder, Cowboys lost last night, 22-14. Dowdle and Deuce Vaughn with touchdowns. Injuries, the kid Stevens at tight end, nicked up his knee. We'll find out about that. DeMarvion Overshone, the kid from UT, third-round draft pick. We're waiting to find out results of possibly the MRI. We pray it's nothing serious, and we'll just have to wait and see on that. Dallas Cowboy fans, it is open practice this week at the Star in Frisco. So you have Tuesday night, you have Wednesday night, and then you have Thursday afternoon.
1:30 on Thursday afternoon out at the Star. One other thing, the other injury of note was the Matt Waletzko shoulder injury last night.
Yeah, so you got that as well. I think I showed you guys last week. I ordered the new bucket hats. And I had them in navy, which are great. And a lot of Dallas Cowboys, they were like, I want one. I'm like, yeah, no problem. Here, take. I give. I'm a giver. And so I thought I needed another color. So I got them in white. And you know what I put on the back this time instead of extra, extra, extra crispy?
White.
I put right there. So
there we go.
Right there.
That works.
That's exactly right. If you hit a button on the hat, it does that. See? Right there. See, you hit the button.
Why do they cost so much?
They're not cheap, but what the hell? I like to give them away. Okay, last night you were watching the Cowboy game very late. And then if you're a UFC guy like I am, I love the boxing and the UFC, you had the Sean O'Malley-Sterling fight. Sterling was the champ, and he's a badass. But O'Malley's kind of the purple, the $15 color hair, and he's a big talker. And I got to give him credit. He said he was going to knock him out with a right hand, and he knocked him out. He hit him with a right hand right on the button, and then he beat the hell out of him, and they stopped the fight. So that was actually fairly entertaining. And I did not watch this because I wasn't going to watch this, but I did see the highlights of Messi. That dude's ridiculous.
Messi.
I mean, he's just, I don't know. Every time he touches the freaking ball, he scores a goal, so he's pretty damn good. And Deddy, you're correct. For those that do love college football, and we do love college football, next Saturday, Navy at Notre Dame, UTEP at Jacksonville State. You got a couple.
It's a light schedule, really light schedule, but we do get 2 preseason ranked top 15 teams opening things up next weekend.
Trying to understand, the ESPN game boggles my mind. UMass versus New Mexico State. Explain that. Because at the same time, you've got San Jose State at USC with Caleb Williams.
What?
Well, but you got me, man.
I don't understand.
San Jose State, USC, I would have thought would have been like a Fox game. Maybe Fox would have put it on somewhere.
Maybe that's it. You got triple networks doing their thing. So anyway, we're a week away from college football, which means we're getting very close, and that's great.
And USC, that's
my prop ticket. I took that in Vegas, man. I win that. That's a $100 bet. I'll win $1,800.
Little ducket action on there.
I'll take that. Why not? What the hell? Okay, work in progress is kind of in here, but I'm going to let Monty explain because there's one missing on Sunday mornings now. And then there was one here, and then there's a new person with a Ranger hat where the bill is not correctly bent yet. Must be a new hat.
So give Mino a little bit of money.
Okay.
And he forgets his friends.
Is that
not who he is.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I'm your friend.
And and I appreciate that. And you're here talking with me on Sunday.
I love you, Monty.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
But you know what? I'm also very excited about who you have in the room with you because I'm a big fan of this guy.
Mino ditched you for Sean is basically what you're saying?
He did. And I have to sit in the corner every day and watch them go at it. That's the biggest problem.
You know, you can leave a little something in the corner for them every day if you'd like. Sprinkle the infield and just tell them that's for you.
I'm a better man than that. I would never do that. So, replacing Mino is a man you know very well.
Very well. His mother and my mother are both mothers.
You've probably never seen him in a Ranger hat before. He's debuting it for the first time today.
You know what? That's why it's great.
Moving forward, I will be joined by DJ Ringgenberg. Just listen to how excited he is. He's so excited. He's beaming with energy.
I miss Mino. I'm going to be honest. I don't know the long-term viability of this.
Sup, slut.
Hey, Mino.
Just think, in 7 years, you can be where Mino is. That's the trajectory we were on.
Ooh, that's something to consider, though,
so
DJ.
Just keep going. Just keep going, DJ.
How many more years till he gets where you are?
Never.
No.
Can't do that. So you don't like the way he bends his hat?
I actually had somebody sent me a picture, and it says the correct way versus. Well, look, everybody, it's how you grew up, right? My father used to tell me you curl the bill, and you can use put it in your glove to get the nice curve. Or some people did it with your like a baseball belt or something like that. And you did your baseball glove the same way. You would get that little natural curve. I like having a little. You have a little curve to it. I like having a little curve. Some people like to bend it completely across.
Yeah, I like to make mine look like a Japanese Little Leaguers.
Okay.
Where it's just a triangle. But I don't wear many hats.
Little rooftop bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, but DJ, you're a hat guy.
It is my defining characteristic. There's no question. It is my default. And trying to think of how many days in a row I've worn this hat.
Do you ever go backwards hat or just...
No, he would never degrade the game that way.
No.
Okay, just ask.
Never.
All right. So is it the full 3?
The full 3.
Do we still do something at 10:50 special, or is that different now?
We do. We won't be work in progress, but we will have some similar staples, at least for now. And at 10:50, yeah.
Are you coming up with a new name?
At some point, probably.
Okay.
But for now, we'll just be DJ and Monty.
I think it's going to be another WIP. I want to keep the acronym, so we just have to think of another name of the show that has the initials WIP.
How
Women
about
in pants.
Come wallow in pity.
Whoa.
With DJ and Monty.
Wallow in pity. There you go. The WiP Boys. Rebranded, but not really.
Wow.
Saving money on production value.
Come feel terrible with us.
Every Sunday morning. Right on your way to church, home from church.
Oh my
Sunday morning sadness.
Yep. That's what we'll bring you here in Wallow in Pity.
All right. Well, you guys obviously got Cowboys and Rangers and stuff.
All the good stuff, yeah. Yep. And at 10:50, we're going to talk about incest.
Excuse me?
We're going to investigate incest.
DJ said, he's got the sister.
No.
She
don't
finally
have a
wore
sister.
this dress the
don't
other
have
day.
A sister.
Incestigate.
Had him questioning himself, and we're gonna dive through that.
I don't know what to say to that. You do have a sister or you don't have a sister?
I don't have a sister. This is unrelated to either of our families. But it is going on out there, and we need to shine a spotlight on a touchy subject.
Is it going on a lot out there, a lot more than we think it is?
You could say that.
It seems like it.
Oh, my. All right, I might have to tune in. This is going to be really good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's kind of WIP.
WIP.
With a new name we're working on, but it's Monty and it's DJ. They're coming at you. All right, thanks to Connor Caldwell, Jacob Dedamore, and, of course, to Ryan Baldwin. I'm Mark Elfenbein. We'll see you next week.
This is Grant Anderson. You listen to Work in Progress. Dubs up.
Yeah. It is 9:16 here on Sports Radio 96.7 and 1310 The Ticket.
Yeah.
We are WiP, whatever that may mean, as you have myself, Justin Montemayor, alongside DJ Ringgenberg, as we begin our somewhat maiden voyage. We've done shows together somewhat recently. We did dry docking for 2 weeks. But now, DJ, welcome to Sunday mornings. Isn't it fun waking up early Sunday?
It doesn't matter what time it is. It's going to be a struggle for me to get here, whether it's leaving the house at 4:35 in the morning on the weekday or 7:35 like this morning. It's all just fresh off waking up, just a struggle. But it's good to be here.
So no alarm. What time would you wake up?
Probably 11. Between
That's
11
solid.
and noon, I think.
Yeah.
That's not too late. I mean, that still leaves you some time to do stuff or pretend like you're going to be productive that day if you wake up at 11.
And that would be going to bed at what time?
Probably 2 if I just had my, choice.
Yeah.
Agency in life. Wasn't a slave to the corporate overlord.
That's a good 9 hours. That's pretty good.
Healthy.
Yeah. And like you, I could probably do till about 11. But I would feel a lot better about it knowing that in years past, I used to clear 2, 3 o'clock like it was nothing. Especially early ticket days when I had nothing going on except waiting for Kat to call me. It was easily go to bed at 4 or 5, wake up at 2 o'clock. Just real loser vibes. Just pathetic. Real pathetic.
Oh, when you got nothing else, I mean, we've all been there.
And luckily, I would wake up and immediately do something really productive, which was heat up a Totino's pizza in the oven.
Well, it's very affordable. I mean, you're not going to get that type of volume for that type of price. That's just smart.
Yeah. Especially when I was like, well, anything else I eat is going to cut into that big paycheck I just made. I'm going to just fire up another 99-cent Totino's. This will be great.
I like money.
You guys ever sleep in real late and then immediately just go to the couch?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then maybe nod back off for another couple of minutes. Why not? It's a different spot. It's not sleeping anymore.
Exactly.
Now you're napping.
You kick-started your metabolism, so
right.
You might need a little break.
Yeah. No, I had the worst ever this morning waking up. I had my alarm set for 7:15, and my body said, no, it's 6:48, and you're going to go pee right now. You're going to get up, and you're going to go to the bathroom. Either that or you're going to wet yourself.
Either one. Yeah, it's up to you.
But you got to weigh those options.
And I'll go ahead and spoil it. Did not wet myself. Decided to get up and go to the bathroom, but now I'm laying there like, son of a bitch, man. I woke up 28 minutes before my damn alarm. You're not going to go back to bed. I did a little bit.
You did.
I was like, you know what? If I get a call at 9 a.m. from DJ, I'll deal with it.
That's just good content.
So I set my alarm for the most beaten amount of time, which was 16 minutes.
This sucks.
Just enough to kind of get comfortable and then be twice as annoyed whenever the alarm goes off again.
Oh, I was way annoyed when I woke. I wish I had just gotten up and took a shower or something. That just made it worse.
The mind is incredible in what it can make you do whenever you know you have to get up. I can't tell you how many times during the week in the morning I have my secondary alarm far away so that I have to get up.
Smart.
If I am woken up by it.
Yeah.
It's genius.
So many times though, I will get up from my first alarm, go turn off that alarm, and then set my phone alarm like 10 minutes later.
Kind of defeating your overall
Completely defeating the purpose to where if I just would stay up whenever I get up. But no.
My dad used to do this thing where he would set that old like digital alarm clock. He would set it like 20 minutes ahead, and he would say that I do it that way so that when I wake up, I think I'm late. I'm like, but you set the clock.
You know, you're the one person on the planet that actually knows that's not true.
Right. But worked for him.
It's constantly tricking ourselves.
Trying to.
I've never done the thing you're talking about, but I think that's a good idea. Luckily, I don't think we've ever had too big of a problem here oversleeping a show. It happened a couple of times when Trey was producing us. And that's always just awesome. Because then you just get to call him, like I said. And you get to hear the, hello. Hey, Trey. What you doing?
How's it going, buddy?
I'm late,
We
aren't
have it.
I? Yeah. And then the weirdest thing about that was always Trey lived in Plano, which is a good 30 minutes from here, 35. Trey would be here in like 12 minutes.
Like magic.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he was crashing somewhere close by.
No, we're pretty sure he was just going like 130 down 75. And eventually we'd have to tell him, like, dude, drive normal. Do not speed here. But he was dedicated in some ways, I guess.
Read the 40-liner from the car.
Yeah.
All right, that would be good.
And then Mino and I would just do playlists during the breaks of Trey flying down 75, just knocking cars off the road, trying to get here as quick as he could. But a couple of housekeeping things. One, I would like to say congrats to the ticket personnel and our P1s, because you have successfully bullied me out of using something I like to use every day.
I have.
I don't know that you commented on it, but certainly other members of the team in P1s have seen it, and I just got tired of the remarks.
Because generally I empower you. Generally, unless it's going to get you or everybody fired, I generally say, yeah, you should keep doing that, or you should go for that.
Yeah, you're normally pretty pro Monty. Like, if I make one joke, he'll say, oh, you sending that one to Gordon? No, is Gordon writing 840 bits today for you? Or, oh, man, that's why the Reddit people love you.
No, I've never.
But you didn't participate.
I would never say anything like that.
This bullying you were not a part of. At least I don't remember. There was a lot of them, so maybe yours got lost.
Maybe not to your face.
But I used to be a big fan of the pop socket on the back of the phone.
Yes, I did notice that.
Very practical. Allowed me to hold it really easy. You know, when I didn't need it, just a couple of notches, and it's pretty flush against the phone.
I mean, I'm holding my phone right now with just my hand without a pop socket, and it's not flying out of my hand when I'm trying to.
Yeah,
throw
but
it
what
out.
if I could guarantee another 10% safety that thing would not go flying?
I don't think you can guarantee 10%, but
it felt that way in my hand. Maybe it was just a placebo, a pop socket placebo, but I enjoyed being able to hold that thing just ever so gently in my hand. You know, and if I was sitting there watching something on YouTube, you know, if I was watching an old, just yesterday, I heard our dear producer Kevin Landrum talking pros versus Joes on his show.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to go watch pros versus Joes on my phone. And I can't prop it up anymore on the table.
So you caved to public pressure and you took it off just because people were making fun of you? One emailer tells you to kill yourself, and you just take the pop socket
you and your
right off.
unleg.
Yeah.
You let the terrorists win?
It was multiple terrorists. It wasn't just one terrorist.
What's it like being such a sheep?
Terrible.
It sounds
I'm in
terrible.
a horrible phone existence now. Like, essentially, the pop socket was black, and somehow I went back. Like, okay. I can't.
All right.
I can't even function. But on one hand, I kind of got it, because I know a lot of people up here and P1s look to me as like the pinnacle of manliness, or whatever you guys say.
Yeah. A tastemaker among tastemakers.
We have a whole Slack channel dedicated to it.
Just someone really, that you put up on a pedestal when it comes to all things man.
No doubt.
So when you see me with that accessory, you're probably a little bit thrown off. I get it. You're like, wait a minute, that's Paul Bunyan over there with a skirt on.
The accessory that, as far as I can tell, is made if you have like tiny hands so that you could grip the phone.
It's for women. It's for women primarily.
It's not just for women. It's for people with tiny little fingers and tiny little hands.
And I said, you know what? Screw that stigma. I have big hands. I'll still use it.
You have gigantic hands. You have hands the size of a small giant. And you need a pop socket.
And so people who saw the POM, the pinnacle of man, with the pop socket, you were confused. And you turned that confusion into mocking, into put-downs.
Hatred.
Some might call it blind hatred.
Yeah.
And you used me as an outlet for that. And instead of saying, why is he using that? You just said, I don't like that he's using that. And you won. I'm not using it anymore.
It's a little bit bold, too, for people to think, does Monty have like something wrong with his hand, too? Is that the reason why he's using a pop socket? Does he have a nub hand and I didn't even realize it?
It was just helpful. It was just to help.
If it makes you happy, Monty, I think you should use it. That's how I
Now I'm definitely not going to use it.
Okay, then.
Now I'm really dug in. But
that's kind of disappointing. Like, I generally think of you as somebody that stands up to peer pressure.
Right.
You've been through a lot in your life to where you could compartmentalize and realize that, look, I'm going to live my life and this is what helps me and I'm just going to go for it. And instead, Blake says like one thing to you and you cower and you pull it off.
It was more than Blake. But I even had the Ultimate Manly one. It had a little tool on it. It could like
a hammer?
No, but maybe like it had like a little like thing of pliers on there or a bottle opener. Like it was pretty practical.
In case you're on the job site.
Yeah.
You need some auxiliary tools.
Yeah, in case I need some needle nose pliers. They're right here.
In case you're rewiring a circuit board.
My fellow workers are like, where are my pliers at? And I'm like, brother, back of the phone.
This isn't just for convenience of use when I'm on my phone, guys.
Like, I don't even like this thing really, but the pliers are for you. Other housekeeping item. Speaking of Blake.
Boy, Blake's played second fiddle to your pop socket. Okay.
Or
are we building? Was that the opening act and now we're getting to the headline?
Yeah. That was the opener.
Okay. Good.
So, Blake did not bring this up Friday, and I get why he did it. But Friday was his last day here at the ticket. And Blake's just kind of that way, he didn't want to have a big conversation with Donovan and Matt or whoever else, but he will not be here anymore. And I know that you and I are probably the people he's had the most like on-air tension with, but that's all just a bit, and I'm really upset that he doesn't work here anymore because I love that dude. It sucks he's not here anymore.
Definitely sucks. I'm a little bit jealous, too, that he is going out like this because it's exactly the way I think that I would want to go out, just disappear, and having months from now people wondering, where's Blake? Like,
yeah.
Why hasn't Blake been here? And, the tension is fun, but I think that also speaks to the most back and forth and like the chippiness sometimes is like actually the guys that will think that's funny and that who will give it right back to you. I feel like we've got that dynamic. We've definitely got that dynamic with Blake, Ham, Mino. A lot of us like to nip at each other like that.
It's ball busting, yeah.
Yeah, and Blake's just really good at what he does. I think Blake really shined in this last month or so since Dan and Jake have been gone. And he's taken on more of a role whenever it was the 5-hour show, and he's just kind of held things together and really shown he was off the air quite a bit for Dan and Jake, and then he started to certainly flourish a lot more in that role. And then since then, he's just really good at what he does. Everybody likes him up here. It's just unfortunate that he's not going to be here.
Yeah, it's obvious how many people like the Dan and Jake show, but a big part of what made them go, and even they would admit this, was Blake being added to a show that was, they knew each other, but them working together as hosts was not formed yet. So having Blake as their producer really, I think, brought them together. And he told me what he's doing, and he also said that he was okay with us talking about this. We're not blindsiding him. He told me what he was doing, and it kind of gave me eye glaze. I don't remember exactly what he said.
He's going to be working the Ferris wheel at the fair this year?
No, I'm pretty sure I remembered if he said that. It was something that powered me down, and I fell asleep halfway through it. But it was just something that, is better for him and his family. So we're happy that he, maybe can start making some good money and still work with TCU and Argyle and whatever else. But he just won't be here as part of the ticket team anymore. So I don't know, if you're on Twitter or X or whatever, send Blake a nice note. Tell him we love you. We'll see you around. And yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with where he was slotted, but Blake, we'll miss you, dude. All right, it's 9:31 here on The Ticket. You got the new lineup, the new WiP, whatever we're going to be. Coming up at 10:50, we'll do This Week in the Internet. We'll talk about incest, as we told Elf.
As a tribute to Blake.
Right. Yeah, as someone who was really into it.
Maybe too into it.
We'll do some staples. We'll do brunch. We'll do the WiP Around. We'll do the news with Lando. But coming up next, how are we feeling heading into Cowboys 2023?
All sorts of good people on the board and in the ticker booth.
That is Brian Baldwin. Let's go back to the board, though. Who's running our board right now?
Is that EA in there?
No, it's not EA, and you know it.
Kind of looks like EA.
I'm so sorry.
It's a different crew. I don't know who these people are. This is not a Saturday crew.
Have you worked with him before, Connor?
Dalton.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
He's really endearing himself to the crew on his first shift.
Is that Daddy in there?
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah, it is Daddy on the.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I'm
on the
unclassically
tickers.
trained in singing.
Okay. I'm trying to learn things on the fly here.
All right. Well, that's Connor, just in case you didn't hear us.
Connor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Connor.
Were you expecting some wild ethnic name from Connor over there?
Ethnic name? I don't even know what you're talking about, sir.
Yeah, like DJ.
Right.
All I know is we got back-to-back Cowboy segments to do here.
Of course.
Can we get serious?
Norse.
Cowboys lost last night.
They did.
They got embarrassed. They got run off the field. And they got a pretty big injury. Maybe not a huge injury in the grand scheme of things, but a guy that people were certainly interested in seeing this year, DeMarvion Overshone.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you feel like the injury bug is not like it's a sure thing. It's like you just don't know how bad it's going to hit you or when it's going to hit you. It's just at some point. You don't want to have the game like the Eagles had this week to where two guys get carted off with neck injuries. You've got at least 3 or 4 other guys that had to leave the game, and you think, well, at least we're not them. And then you just realize if you're going to be on the field playing, even the backups, no matter what the circumstance is, if it's game action, you're going to probably lose somebody every game. And that's just kind of where you are.
Yeah, so Overshone, they fear tore an ACL, right? Which I feel like if that's what you're worried about, that's probably what it is. So, yeah, that would stink. I mean, I don't know what I expected from him actually out there on the defensive side of the ball, but I figured he'd be a big player on special teams. And, yeah, I mean, if he was, a third-round pick from Rutgers or something, I probably wouldn't care as much, but I've watched a lot of him over the last handful of years, so I was kind of curious to see what he was going to do as a rookie with the Cowboys. But yeah, that one hurts. And then we also are waiting on John Stevens, right? He also was injured last night and is going to have an MRI, which he's kind of in the same boat. Don't know what plans he has for the 53, but he'd been making big strides. Heard a lot about him in training camp. Had a good game one. Some people thought he might sneak onto the roster as this team's third tight end, as a converted wideout. So don't know what his prognosis is or whatever, but I kind of wanted to see what he had overall. But I don't know what to make of last night's game overall, to be honest with you. That was one of those games where I was looking down at my phone more than I was at the screen, just because, I mean, the Cowboys don't put anyone out there who really moves the needle for me.
Yeah, Jalen Tolbert, all of the Jalens seem to have a pretty nice game and make an impact, but especially in the second half, it's Will Grier basically taking the snap and then running at some degree backwards and trying to avoid the massive pass rush because there's absolutely no depth on the offensive line. And that's probably the only tangible thing that I'm taking away from last night is if anybody gets hurt for the most part on the offensive line, it's probably going to be pretty tough sledding. I don't know if it's going to be a situation where mid-season they're going to have to pick up somebody, a veteran off of the trash heap, maybe somebody that's coming off injury and wasn't signed or was cut last season, and maybe that's a way that you would plug a potential hole, because I'm not sure that they're really comfortable with hardly any of the guys. Well, Let's Go went down also, and that seems to be the name that is kind of the emergency, the guy that they would plug in if they had to. And he suffered an injury of some degree as well. So
Jason Peters says he wants to keep playing. Going back to that well?
God, he was great for like one game.
Yeah.
And then they were like, wow, you were really good in that one game. Let's just plug you in and have you starting now. And it seemed like, whoa, are we really at that dire of a point to where the guy that was on his couch 2 weeks ago is good enough to slide in there? I don't know. I mean, in a limited capacity, I think you look at all options, but you're probably going for somebody. If you're in a position to where you feel like you need to go out and add a guy off the street, then you probably need somebody that's going to be more than just a rotation player, and that's probably what somebody of his age would be at this point.
Yeah, and if you're a team that is relying on Tyron Smith, you probably need someone you can count on for multiple games. I don't know if I think Jason Peters is going to be doing that anymore, especially at 41. He is up there, dude.
Yeah, he's been around a long time, and
yeah,
you can't really fault the Cowboys. I mean, saying that they've neglected the line or anything like that. I mean, it's you just added Tyler Smith as a guy that nobody had the type of faith that y'all had in. Y'all bring him in, and he was absolutely fantastic next year. It might be your tackle of the future. So it's just it seems to just be a numbers game. They just haven't hit on a guy like Josh Ball. Who knows?
Yeah, well, I mean, they've even thrown a number of day 2 picks at the line as well, like Connor Williams, Connor McGovern. Like, you're right. It's not something that they've just completely forgot about. They just haven't hit on as many recently as they did when they built this line, like Frederick and Martin, Lyell, Tyron.
They haven't found another bargain. They've spent heavily, and the ones that they've spent heavily on, they've hit, and that's just kind of where you're at.
So in our next segment, we'll get into the thing going around right now about Mike McCarthy being the most likely coach to be fired mid-season. But before we do that, I want to spend a couple of minutes just kind of gauging your temperature and how you feel about this team, because I know the narrative going in is what it's been for the last 10, 15 years, basically since the beginning of the Romo era, it feels like, which is, at best, I think Cowboy fans are cautiously optimistic. I feel like the majority of them probably brand themselves as this team is going to be this team, which is they're not going to do anything outside of maybe win a wild card game. And that's probably where you should be if you don't want to be hurt. But I like the way I like to consume sports is I want to be glass half full as much as I can up to a point. Because if you're going into every single season with the idea that they're going to rip your heart out, why do you even invest your time at all? You know what I mean? I'm not saying you have to have blinders on and be completely naive and say it's our year every year, but don't you want to have a little bit of childlike mentality of, this is my team and I think we could be good this year?
You want to have some hope.
Yeah.
Something to cling to, something.
Anything.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. And I think that annoys people sometimes, where you're riding the fence. It's where you're pointing out nearly 30 years of futility, but at the same time you're also saying, but this year's team is actually probably going to be really good. And it's not inaccurate to say both of those things. Multiple things can be true at the exact same time. They can be on a historically bad run as far as playoff success, and that also has absolutely nothing to do with this year's team. Now,
yeah,
when it gets down to it and we have another data point, another year of, okay, maybe Dak came up short again, and the people that have been on the Dak bandwagon for a long time, which I'm definitely in that party, if Dak is the reason why they don't advance past, into the championship game this year, then definitely going to start looking at things different, because it's probably not going to be the defense. We've got enough evidence now that not only is this a really good defense, they've got a really good coaching staff on that side of the ball with continuity of a couple of years, and they've got at least one superstar on that team. So I think it's going to come down to, is Dak good enough? Is McCarthy good enough? Otherwise, the roster and the way that it's been put together, it should be good enough to get things done pending major injuries this season.
Yeah, I think I am even acknowledging that I know what, their history is, but I'm willing to overlook it and say that can't be what's going to define them forever. At some point, you feel like they're going to get out of that rut, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to identify that before it happens. You know what I mean? Unless they're able to put together a Pro Bowler at every single position, how are we ever going to go into a season knowing that this could be the time? I'm not saying what I'm trying to just, I think, overall say is I don't want to be way too hard on one side or way too hard on the other. And if I had to skew one way, it would be more towards optimistic, because you still will find, your random Cowboy fans with the flags on the car, and, they'll have Calvin going number 1 on a Giants helmet and an Eagles helmet.
Dude, that gets me pumped up every time.
That's probably a little more optimistic than I would be. But I want to go into week 1 saying, you know what? Let's forget about what happened in the years past. Not, completely erase it from our memories, but say, I want to have something to invest in. And will I get my heart ripped out? Probably. But 29 other teams every year get their hearts ripped out. That's just kind of the way it is. So when we do actually climb the mountaintop, which I do think they will again at some point, will that be when Jerry Jones is alive? I don't know. I'd like to hope so. I know he definitely wants to. But I just want to try to basically look at the book that someone wrote up here and say, F all that. I'm not reading that thing.
If for no other reason, we need a title while Jerry's alive, just so we get the drunken celebration speech at the end of the parade. Jerry just out there addressing the fans and meeting in downtown. Or maybe it would meet in Arlington. I don't know. Should we plan?
Yeah, we'll worry about
the route.
Okay, you're Calvin Cowboy right now. You don't have to be Calvin Cowboy.
I guess you start in Dallas. You go down through Mansfield, like you take 20 down there, then go to Fort Worth, and then you meet in Arlington.
EA, slowly bring his mic down while I tease the next segment, which is, it may be hard to win the Super Bowl if your coach gets canned midseason.
9:59 here on the ticket. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Justin Monty.
Thank you.
Montemayor.
Thank you. We are the new WiP. Monty and DJ in from 9 until noon every single Sunday. Unless there's Cowboys preempting us. Be ready for that. The Cowboys play at noon. We have the weekend off.
What a treat.
So, nice. I think what you meant to say was, damn, that's more opportunities for you and I to
what a
build
treat.
our chemistry. All right. Just trying to build ourselves up a little bit. We'll have the news with Lando here in about 15 minutes. An hour from now, we will do This Week in Internet. But, before we get to the Mike McCarthy discussions, you want to play a little audio from last night's game?
Yeah, there were a lot of funny things from the Blue Star Network call. There always are. I think one of the things you get with this is you always get the token big-name Cowboys guest from the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Guys aren't playing. You had Dak in Game 1. You had Micah Parsons with Nick Eatman yesterday. And
who always seems surprised to be on camera.
A little bit, yeah. There's no doubt. And I'm not a TV expert by any stretch. Not like you, Kevin Landrum.
Yeah.
I understand that.
I've been around.
You and TV aficionado.
Kevin Landrum works on the weekends.
I have no doubt you would have crushed this Micah Parsons interview.
Yeah.
I'm simply asking the question, was something overly obvious said here to Micah Parsons?
Thanks, Bill. And yes, I'm here with Micah Parsons, Cowboys All-Pro linebacker, or defensive end, pass rusher, whatever you want to say. Micah, it's kind of loud down here. Do you think this is a good atmosphere for these young guys?
Oh, I think this is a great atmosphere. It's my first time being here, and Dan telling me what the 12th man meant and what happened. So I think this is crazy. I want to come back here for regular season.
Obviously, you're a guy that loves to get out there and play. What is it like here in these preseason?
Okay. You're obviously a guy who likes to get out there and play football.
Yeah, like if we asked Trayvon, he'd be like, yeah, not really feeling it today.
I did not want to come to the game, even to watch it.
My passion is crocheting.
Yeah, I wish I was at home sleeping till 2, eating up Totinos.
Has anybody ever questioned that Micah Parsons loves football? And that he really likes being out there? Seems like he enjoys it in addition to excelling
Maybe the guy
at
who
football.
sexually assaulted at Penn State?
Allegedly.
Okay.
According to court filings that were buried very quickly by the local police.
All right.
Obviously, you're a guy that loves to get out there and play.
It is pretty obvious that he loves to play football and that he's out there. So,
yeah,
there you go. An interview where really nothing was said.
It kind of sounded like, he didn't really have questions in mind, which Micah Parsons seems like a dude that has plenty of layers you could peel from.
You could ask him just about anything. He's got a little Jerry in him where you just give him a prompt and let his imagination go.
Be like, hey, Micah, looked any toes recently?
All right. The home broadcast is not going to highlight the foot thing. As much as the ticket does, I think we handle it plenty. It's kind of become the defining characteristic of Micah on this station, in addition to, being an all-pro pass rusher. But I just thought I just didn't think that, just for the sake of being concise, we don't need to point out that the players at the NFL level really love being out there.
Yeah, well, he's an outlier, That's what Micah is. So, another topic here, and I think I've heard this mentioned before, but Mike McCarthy is the odds-on favorite, or at least depending on where you look. I've seen Todd Bowles also mentioned as the co-favorite for coach to be fired this year, first in the NFL. Both he and Todd Bowles are at plus 600. You have Josh McDaniels and Ron Rivera right behind them. Kevin Stefanski, Dennis Allen nipping at their heels as well. But McCarthy, for the most part across the board, is the first name you'll see, which begs the question, are we missing something or are the Vegas people insane? And I feel like if you ever have to ask that, the answer is no, so it must be on you, because Vegas people are rich because they're not insane. So are we missing something?
Yeah, and I think that there's a divide for sure from where you see just kind of the hot takey lists, where there's ones you notice where it's okay. They definitely included a Cowboy, a member of the organization, in some sort of position to where it's going to be incendiary and it's going to create discussion and there's going to be pushback, and that's how we're going to drive traffic to our, to our article or whatever they're putting out there. But it's not,
which exec would be most likely to take upskirt photos of the owner's daughter? The Cowboys would lead there as well.
But I think there's analytics that would prove that actually to be, okay, maybe we should be following this person because they're actually right on with this. So maybe they do have some inside information.
Yeah.
But you've got lists like Warren Sharp's football analysis. You've just got a lot of people that seem to be in the know that are also on this consistent trend of thinking about Mike McCarthy and just saying that it's antiquated. And I think that there is a legitimate pushback to some of the criticism that he's taken, to where people will point to, well, they run the ball a ton on first down, which is just something all analytics of modern day NFL say that you're wasting your time there. No matter how good your running back is, over the long haul, you're going to be better off probably throwing on first down.
Yeah, the new, you can still run the ball, but it's better to do it when your passing game is set up a 3rd and 1 rather than running into a brick wall and now you have 2nd and 10.
Yeah, but at some point, wasn't that Kellen Moore's offense? Wasn't that his decision-making at some point last year? Isn't that what we're making this transition into?
Yeah, but do you think, though, on that front, if McCarthy had a big, I don't know if I can say that, hardo on not wanting to be that run-heavy, as the head coach, you should step in and say, I don't want to run the ball as much. I know you're the OC. I'm not going to micromanage play calling, but as an overall philosophy, let's not run the ball on 1st down every time.
And I think that that's one of the mysteries of the Mike McCarthy era here in Dallas, is I don't think anybody knows exactly how much his influence is felt really on either side of the ball before this year, because I thought we were all pretty much in agreement that Dan Quinn is doing just about everything on the defense, and I think rightfully so. I think that's strong delegating, putting Dan Quinn in charge 100% for the most part in the defense. What percentage of that then has been Mike McCarthy in the offense? Is it whenever they're leading the NFL in points per game, or, which part of the story exactly do we need to assign to Kellen Moore now that he's gone versus Mike McCarthy? Because there was a lot of good on the offense, and then there was also a lot of things to where very smart people are saying this probably wasn't ideal, and it wasn't necessarily as good as people thought, and we've got a lot of receivers who aren't open and are creating very tight windows for Dak Prescott. How much of that is this receiving core is just not that good, or it was still recovering from some injuries, like with Michael Gallup, and how much of that is poor scheming? I don't know. And I think that we're finally going to get that look here this season where we can't blame no continuity, because Mike McCarthy has been there. That's a major failure on his part if he doesn't have some type of rapport with Dak Prescott in the offense and running things, because it shouldn't be that drastically different from what they had been doing. But then what exactly is the difference, and where is that blame going to lie? It's not going to be on Dak ultimately money-wise, because I think he's about as locked in as anybody could be.
No, they will never cut off Dak's head. It'll be everyone else's first. I mean, financially, you probably have to do that. I mean, luckily, we'll be able to compare in real time a Mike McCarthy offense to a Kellen Moore offense, because he's in San Diego. Good Lord, what am I, 100? He's in L.A. with the Chargers. So, and they're kind of similar. They have a good lead back with Eckler. They have some good receivers.
A lot of talent.
Yeah, I mean, their quarterback, I would say, is objectively better than Dak, but we're going to be able to keep up week to week with a Mike McCarthy-led offense and their $40 million quarterback, and Kellen Moore's Chargers offense led by a top 5 quarterback, and see which one is faring better.
It sounds very much like the Belichick-Brady divorce of, okay, we're going to see which one was actually the magic, except none of the guys in our scenario have won.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, you're just trying to figure out legacy-wise who is better. In this case, we're talking about Mike McCarthy not having a job anymore, or Kellen Moore. I mean, I guess if the Chargers offense stinks, they can him. So, I mean, yeah, we're talking about just trying to keep you alive.
Or Staley. I feel like Brandon Staley's more on the hot seat than Mike McCarthy is.
I mean, it's at the very least neck and neck, and it seems like Staley has done less than Mike McCarthy has over these last couple of years.
I feel like Brandon Staley has done more to hurt his team than McCarthy has.
Brandon Staley, it seems like he has half of the equation right. Like, he goes for it on 4th down all the time, which I really like. But a lot of times the play calling on 4th down, it doesn't seem like is very good. So you can kind of get him there. But why is your team with a future Hall of Fame potential quarterback consistently in 4th down situations where you're having to go for it so often? And then why is it such a failure whenever you get there? So yeah, I would definitely, just trying to be as objective as possible, I would definitely look at that as more of a question mark this year. But I mean, just Mike McCarthy, I just thought it was weird even last night. I'm not going to indict him on a preseason decision,
but
but a minute 25 left in the second quarter, 4th and 1. He punted the ball away in a preseason game. The only thing I could think of was...
Flip the field,
The only thing I was thinking was, is he just trying to move the game along and try to make sure that people aren't getting hurt? But couldn't you use some more of those snaps? Couldn't you run your offense a little bit more? Like, isn't there a very finite number of opportunities you have to actually get the guys game speed, game reps, and we're punting on 4th and 1? I just thought that was kind of maybe not indicative of anything, probably not indicative of anything, but just weird.
Yeah, well, got some chicken parm I want to heat up in the locker room. So,
you going micro or you going toaster oven?
I got limited responses, so I'm gonna back off.
I didn't realize that was gonna be such a curveball for you, Coach.
They're all predetermined for fake Sunday Mike McCarthy. All right, it's 10-11.
If you can't figure out that, Coach, then I'm worried about the season.
Nah, coaches, go ahead and can him. What's on the news?
What the hell's going on in Scotland?
Is Max Scherzer kind of the Monty of his room? I think there's a discussion to be had there. Kind of a glue guy. You just plug him in on any team, whether it's the Mets, the Tigers, the Rangers. He just kind of makes that team better.
Wish you and Blake would change places.
Too bad. It's already done.
I'll be here forever.
No takebacks. So we'll talk Rangers coming up here in about 15 minutes at 10:35. But right now, let's throw it to Orlando, leading us through some news.
Got a little bit of breaking news.
Whoa!
To, Syracuse Hoops Twitter feed. CJ Fair is now going to play for the Mavs Summer League team.
News team, assemble!
Thank you, DJ.
Thank you, Lando.
Gentlemen, today is August 20th, 2023. Couple of birthdays, and I want to see if either of you know who these musicians are. I'm sure Monty will think that one of them wrote Rock You Like a Hurricane. Guys, Robert Plant is 75 today. DJ?
He's a musician.
Okay.
From that band.
I know this one.
Okay. You got no clue who Robert Plant is.
I just can't remember which one it is, which classic rock.
He's the lead singer of Greta Van Fleet.
Oh, that's Creed? It's neither of those I can confirm.
Robert Plant, the lead singer of Led Zeppelin.
Oh, that's right.
Music.
Led Zeppelin copied Greta
But I
Van
see what you
Fleet.
did there.
Yeah.
Also today would have been the 57th birthday, as EA over here used Pantera in the return cut. Today would have been the 57th birthday of Daryl Abbott,
DBD?
also known as Dime, the greatest heavy metal guitar player of all time.
That's what I always say.
Yeah, sad day. Gentlemen, a woman is suing a grocery store after she alleges that she broke her ankle after she fell on ham.
Is that why he's not here?
That's why he's not here.
See him at Del Taco. He's at Del Taco right now, DJ.
Awesome.
Yeah. He could be sampling any local cuisine he could possibly imagine. He said, you know what? Hard taco.
Alice Cohen was heading to an area in a grocery store called the Eataly. It's an Italian food emporium in Boston.
We got one of those here, too.
We do?
Yeah. Huh. At the mall.
So she was heading to an area where food samples are distributed to customers, and she slipped on a piece of prosciutto and fell, breaking her ankle.
Oh, no.
All right, I don't know that she was Italian.
My leg.
That's not how all Italian people slip on deli meat.
Rito with prosciutto.
Why would prosciutto make you slip? I don't think of that as like a slippery substance.
It's the slipperiest deli meat there is.
I think of it more like slimy or
it's like slimy
sticky.
bacon.
No, it's not salami. It's
combination
prosciutto.
of meat on tile, probably.
Yeah.
But it's so thin, too.
We should test this in the hallway.
Okay.
Yeah, see what happens.
Let's go get a snack pack out of the Cumulus Cafe and throw it down.
There's no way there's prosciutto in the Cumulus Cafe.
Is. Yeah, they've got the cheese sticks with the prosciutto wrapped around it.
Yeah. And then we'll see, who can slip on it.
Her medical expenses, including a hospital visit and physical therapy, have resulted in $7,500 in bills. Also, her and her husband, Ronald, are seeking a jury trial of at least $50,000 in damages, claiming that she now has pain and suffering and a loss of enjoyment of life.
I feel her on that one.
Yeah, who do I see for that?
I didn't have to slip on prosciutto to feel that one.
Do you see your parents? Do I see the ticket? Like, where do I go for my lawsuit? We might have a class action suit here building. No, I'm still going to say that this isn't like a bucket of water tips over or something.
And how much prosciutto was it?
I would ask you that question.
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm asking the question.
Yeah, would it be like a whole... What does prosciutto come in?
Okay, you're holding you're holding a loaf of bread.
Like a drum?
Like a wheel of cheese? Is it a wheel of prosciutto?
What does prosciutto come off?
It's like 6 or 7 slices, and that it's kind of stacked like deli meat.
But is it like a...
Is it a whole wheel
in
of
its natural state?
It's like a log.
Okay. That's what I was wondering.
In its natural state.
Yeah. When you grow prosciutto, what does it look like?
When it's ripe and it falls off the prosciutto tree.
Oh, not ready yet. Put it back.
Gentlemen, locally.
Moving on.
Starting tomorrow and running through August 27th, it's the 5th annual Fort Worth Burger Week. At over 25 Fort Worth restaurants, you can get $6 specialty burgers. Each one of the restaurants will make their own unique specialty burger. Again, it's $6. Proceeds benefit the Tarrant Area Food Bank. This is run by whatsupfortworth.com. They're also giving away daily items, and there will be one grand prize winner who will win a Big Green Egg ceramic grill.
I feel like there was a time not too recently where if you told me I was getting a $6 specialty burger, I would say, why the hell are you upcharging me? Now... I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Get an egg on there.
Pretty good.
Get some hatch chilies, maybe.
It does look like a tasty burger.
Yeah.
Posted.
So some of the establishments include Bow Lounge, Fat Daddy's. There's also some in Mansfield, and you have Old Texas Brewing Company, Fuego Burger, Tommy's Burger. You got a lot of great places. One of these burgers I'm interested in trying is the Tex-Mac Barbecue Fusion, which is a burger patty with melted cheese, which Monty's out on. With pickled jalapenos, fried onions, and a mac and cheese fried thing on top of it.
Then a slice of jalapeno.
Wait,
thank you.
Like a mac and cheese patty?
Yeah.
So melted cheese is where you draw the line?
Yeah, I'm not a big cheese guy.
Huh.
Not my favorite. I mean, I can stomach it on a burger, but whenever cheese is the star, I'm usually out.
Hot sports. Opinions.
See, I thought I was hot take guy and just saying in general we're over cheesed in the Metroplex.
What does that mean?
It shouldn't. He's right. It shouldn't be the overriding ingredient in a meal. I think that there's just a little bit too much. It can take away from the other components of a meal if you've got too much melted cheese on there. And also, I feel like you get poor quality cheese in a lot of settings where it's not your home. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I was, whenever my family would have Rotel night, I'd be having a sandwich.
Interesting.
Because I was not, especially
So, chips and queso you're out on.
Too good for Velveeta and Rotel.
There's some quesos I can handle. I don't know, there's just some cheeses I really, really, really can't stand. I guess some of the, Italian cheeses, like mozzarella and Parmesan and stuff, I'm okay with. But... yeah, if it's on eggs, I can't even look at it.
I'm not a big cheese and eggs guy.
Oh, I hate it. Horrible.
It's too much. You don't need it.
I don't ever make scrambled eggs anymore anyway.
But, I even felt bad because someone brought up, taquitos a while back, and they all had cheese on them. And I was like,
Oh, from Whataburger?
Yeah. And I was like, I mean, thank you, but I don't like it. And I felt like a little kid because I wouldn't eat it. But it seriously makes me gag.
Do you need me to scrape off the cheese, Monty?
No.
Well, what about eggs?
I did bring an Uncrustable up the other day. It was awesome.
I will pay off the tease in a second, but this conversation ties into my next story.
Okay.
It is the new Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Ooh.
That's right. Beginning August 28th, this will be a limited time take on their classic sandwich. It's the Honey Pepper Pimento Cheese Sandwich.
Out on pimento.
Yeah?
Yeah. I feel like I'm at Amen Corner eating pimento cheese.
This sandwich will have pimento cheese, jalapenos, and honey.
Teddy Emmerich's just narrating you eating the pimento cheese.
Saying, that Dustin Johnson baby-armed that one.
Also, How much money do you think Chick-fil-A made last year? Because I have the number in front of me.
As a company overall?
As a company.
$50 billion?
Yeah, I mean,
Norm is closest. $18.8 billion.
Yeah.
They
sold how much I gave them? Like 12 of that billion.
They sold 527 million sandwiches last year. How many chickens is that?
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
I don't have that figure in front of me.
I don't know.
But
you'll notice that Lando kind of tailors his news for the guys he's reading it to. All of his stories have been food related so far.
Okay,
I think he's doing a great job.
Either someone gets hurt, or there's a good deal, or there's a new item.
Okay, how about this one, Monty?
I was going to say, though.
Or a rock musician was born or died this day.
We should go get one today. We should go try one.
How about this one, Monty?
Hit me.
A Scottish town.
That'll cheat me.
That was very Elf taking a sip of coffee.
And here comes the racism. I'm just kidding.
Amen.
A Scottish town known as Inverclyde is getting set to start school this next Friday. This time, they will be welcoming 17 sets of twins are enrolled this year in college, in their school.
Wait, so what ages are we talking here?
They're like starting school, so they're young kids.
Okay.
Sounds a little weird at first.
Paper. Don't need those anymore. Don't need those jokes.
In 2015, they had 19 sets of twins start primary school, and they've had 147 sets of twins start school since 2013.
What a nightmare that must be for those teachers.
What the hell's going on here? This is a town with a population of like 80,000.
So they're not like bussing in twins.
No.
They just have like a problem.
What is it? I don't get it.
I don't know, man. Scottish people are weird.
It's a strange story.
Nick Cannon has 2 sets of twins in his family.
Is he Scottish?
Don't know.
Is Nick Cannon Scottish?
He could be.
Yeah, why couldn't he be?
Yeah, I don't know. Twins always kind of freak me out anyway. If you're telling me there's a whole school of them, I'm probably flunking out.
And I wonder what percentage of twin populations live in this Scottish town.
You should look that up.
Yeah.
Did you have twins in your school?
We did, but is it a coincidence that Nick Cannon's full name is Nicholas Scott Cannon?
I was going to say O'Cannon.
Dude, we have just broken some news here.
Maybe this is boatswain. Maybe I'm getting boatswain right now, but on Wikipedia it says Nick Cannon's middle name is Scott, which is short for Scottish or Scotland, yeah.
Nick Scotland Cannon.
Maybe.
All right, that's your news.
Yay. Thank you,
kind of got caught in a yawn there.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think about the twins that I went to school with. It was the weirdest thing ever because they were identical, but they were boy-girl.
Ooh.
Which is really confusing.
Did he look more like her, or did she look more like him?
At the time, it was him to her, but now as I keep up with him on Facebook, it seems like it's kind of flipped.
Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah. But it definitely made me feel weird. All right, it's 10:30 here on the ticket. Coming up next.
Keep us updated on those twins you went to school with.
You got it, bud. Did Max Scherzer get along with anybody? Bud, right here, we'll talk a little Rangers. I want to talk about the article that came out this week describing Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer's tenure in New York. But this piece of audio was from when Max Scherzer was on with the Hardline this week. I forget which day, that Wednesday. Maybe. Yeah. So he was on with the Hardline, and it was kind of a weird setup. And you have not heard this, right, DJ?
Correct.
So Killer went out to the ballpark and set up essentially a remote so that they could talk to Scherzer directly. You know, it's a little more personal than being on the phone, and obviously he's not going to come in studio. This is before a game.
Hey.
So they're like, you know what? We're going to get Scherzer. We're going to get Bochy. It's going to be great. They talked to Bochy, got him to endorse the Bochy 7-alarm chili, which was awesome. But then Scherzer comes up, and they've been waiting for him for quite a bit, and it was a great interview overall. I thought he was really good, really energetic. He had some good stories, which we may hear more later on in the show about him being farted on by Dontrell Willis, getting the old D-Train blowhorn.
He seems to be pretty free and open with his time. Like, for a pretty big-time pitcher, he has no problem talking to the media and telling stories.
Why not? You know, when you're his age, what do you got to lose? But getting him actually on and starting the interview seemed to be a bit of a chore, even when Killer had finally wrangled him and put a headset on him. Even that was a false start.
Well, that was a quick break, and it's a quick break because our man in the saddle is here with us, or out at the ballpark at least. Out with Killer, it is the great Max Scherzer. Hi, Max.
Hold on.
Oh.
Sorry, guys. Max is buying a house right now.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Is he doing DocuSign?
I think so. He's improving.
So
it's all good.
Well, it is kind of cool because that was the first thing I was going to ask because Max has bounced around so much in the last couple of years. And the last place that I saw that he had...
So you don't even hear Bob there because what happened was they had went to break and said, we'll come back with Max Scherzer. Like a minute later, he comes over and sits down. So they go right back to the segment and Corby introduces him. Bob's running back, trying to pull his pants up from his ankles.
Also, is it comforting whenever Killer is telling them it's all good?
Yeah.
He just their guests just walked
Killer later.
Just walked away.
Like, do you think you'd
good.
ever be good if, like, you're in an ER and you're trying to get test results and Killer walks in and says it's all good? Would that make you feel any sense
The modern
of
day
relief?
Dr. Nick, it's Dr. Killer here.
Yeah. He would be, the only doctor I think would be worse is the doctor from Arrested Development.
Kind of holding the chart upside down, not really knowing exactly what he's looking at.
Yeah, he's all right. Oh, thank God. He's all right.
The steady hand of Killer has got me here.
But what a ridiculous scene that was, is he puts the headset on, you hear him toss it off, and the way Killer made it sound like he had his briefcase of money, they brought the house to him, and he just bought it right there.
Like Davy's DocuSign line is...
That is a very
pretty
good one, yeah. Like he's signing, yeah. You know, he's got real fat finger trying to sign on the iPad. But just a very funny beginning of their conversation, which, like I said, ended up being pretty good. But we do have a Scherzer start today, right? As the Rangers try to correct things against Milwaukee. But an article came out this week talking about the time between Verlander and Scherzer in New York, and I forget who wrote it. Remember who that was?
Andrew
Cunanan?
Something. I'm looking at it.
Michael Chiklis?
Not Michael Chiklis. Andrew Batafarano of the New York Post.
Okay.
Of what I'm seeing here. And it was the discussion from a source regarding the time with Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer on the Mets. Obviously, a lot of negative feelings and a lot of, meeting a crescendo of, okay, this team that we brought a lot of people together, it's clearly not working, so they're starting to blow it up. And, of course, people more willing to lob grenades whenever they see that the season is imploding. And you've got a source telling the New York Times, essentially, that Verlander was a diva that was detached from his teammates and complained how the team's analytics department wasn't at the level of what he had whenever he was with Houston. And apparently that rubbed Scherzer the wrong way, and he just didn't really have a good opinion of Justin Verlander after that happened. And I guess maybe it's easy to kind of lump in these guys of, all right, they seem to have very similar career paths, and we think of them in pretty much identical ways. At least I do, Scherzer and Verlander.
Well, they've pitched together before, right, in Detroit?
Yeah. So, and just the arc of their career, too. I mean, just guys that, no matter how old they are, I feel pretty comfortable throwing them out there in high-leverage situations. They've both pitched in World Series.
And they pitched great for multiple teams.
Yeah. So you would think that these would be guys to where you just kind of, I don't know about mind your own business, but just like you can kind of plug these guys in anywhere and you think that they're just going to be positive influences and guys that other players are going to gravitate to.
Mm-hmm.
And
being guys that the younger dudes can lean on, get advice from, just learn how to be a big league pitcher. And then this year, which was the Mets' way, they went out, threw more money at a big name, which despite Verlander being 40, he was the reigning AL Cy Young winner, so that's another big arm, and bloated their yearly overall salary to like $400 million, by far the most in the bigs. And he gets there and is not just kind of doing his own thing, which is what we were talking about a little bit ago. You would think a lot of guys could do that, but he was actively being a quote-unquote diva and being a negative, I guess, is kind of what I am understanding his impact on their team. And I don't think the way that their season is shaped up overall helped that at all. Like, if they were doing really well, you probably just figure out a way to be okay with all of that. But when you're the most disappointing team in baseball, it just amplifies it to the nth degree.
Yeah, and you wonder, too, if maybe Verlander was being tactical even in some way to where he was trying to show that he didn't want to be there anymore. If the report was true that Cohen said that it was going to be, I don't think he used the word rebuilding for next season, but essentially it was going to be a transition year, then I could understand why a guy like Verlander, a guy like Scherzer would not want to be a part of that next year. And I think that it's kind of sweet right now that from a Metroplex rooting standpoint, you've got a pretty legit rivalry in every league now, where you've got the NBA clearly leaning in on the Phoenix-Dallas rivalry. You're going to have that as the headliner on Christmas Day.
Yeah,
it's actually a great rivalry with two of the best young stars in the league. You've got that. You've got the Rangers and the Astros right now, who are coinciding with, they've both got really good teams, and you've got a really good battle there. And just Philly right now. I mean, Philly is unmistakably the favorite in the division right now.
You mean the Flyers?
Not the Flyers. We're not going to do the Stars today. I don't have time to get into all the rivalries of the Stars right now.
We have Stars edging with the Stars on our show.
Yeah,
let's do that hockey.
It's the off season though. Let's
never off season.
Let's save it up. Let's save it up a little bit. Let's build up.
All right.
But my point is that I like that Verlander and Scherzer don't get along, and I don't know that it ultimately makes a difference in the long term of how things work out, but just another reason to kind of light a little bit of a fire against Houston, who doesn't seem like they lose that many games here, just kind of like the Rangers too. So maybe it's a little bit frustrating from that regard, just talking about the game yesterday. You do see a couple of cracks in the team at the moment where, Jonah Heim makes me a little nervous. He's back in the lineup. He's back with the team, but he definitely doesn't seem like he's the guy he was before the injury.
Well, he can only bat lefty, right?
Apparently.
He was pinch hit for in the 6th inning yesterday.
Yeah. That's kind of weird.
That's a little bit concerning. Garver has filled in capably, but a full health Jonah Heim is definitely a difference maker. Nathan Eovaldi, what he's going to look like in his return is, in my opinion, that's kind of the make or break of the season. It seems like if they've got him, Scherzer is nice. I don't know that Scherzer is necessarily as nice if you're matching him up with a team's opposing number one, especially a playoff team's number one. So if you get Eovaldi back and you bump everybody back and you've got Scherzer as the 2, and then however you piece it together after that, that's putting the team in a pretty good position. And if Eovaldi's able to make 4 or 5 more starts at the end of the season here, then that's a big game changer as well. But it just seems like no matter what the Rangers do, like they just haven't been able to pull away. Even though you check the game notes after all of these games, and it's all sorts of Rangers through 120 games have set franchise record for, best mark at that mark. And it's been like that for most of the season, and you just never seem to be more than one series, one bad series for the Rangers and one good series for the Astros away from it being essentially a 1.5 to a 2-game lead. And I don't know that necessarily bodes well. Definitely don't want to be doom and gloom, but it does feel like the Astros, a team with all of the experience at this time of the year, and they've been dealing with Framber Valdez not being very good since the All-Star break. They've got their own adversity and their own injuries, and yet it's just winding down to where it just feels like it's going to come down to the last week.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, I kind of like it because it does keep you on your toes. You can never, put your guard down. Like, you have to be playing, your best baseball every night, but that probably gets very tiring for a team who could probably say, you know what, it'd be nice to be able to lose 3 of 5 and not feel like we're fighting for our lives when we do that. But it's also just kind of the luck of the draw because they're one of only 2 divisions where they have 2 teams with over 70 wins. And that's just kind of the way it is, man. It's them and the AL East.
And the Mariners are not far behind either.
I mean, by tomorrow, the Mariners could have 70 wins.
That damn Julio Rodriguez is so hot right now.
Yep. That dude's crushing it. So, I mean, you have to play the hand you're dealt. When we lost Josh Young last week, whenever that was, that hurt too. The injury bug could not have come at a worse time, but the fact that they're still leading their division despite all of that, with Scherzer seemingly getting better with every start, I feel better about him the more I see him pitch. And if he can go out there today and strike out 10 again, go 6 or 7, I'll feel pretty good about that.
And maybe that's the beauty of where Scherzer is now and the fact that I'm very confident, even, not taking this small sample size into account. I'm just saying in general, Max Scherzer, if just face value, knowing what we know about Max Scherzer, I'm pretty confident that he's not going to give up more than like 3 or 4 runs in 6 to 7 innings. And I feel like every night the Rangers are probably going to score at least 4 or 5 runs a game. So it's not like they're asking him to be the mega ace. They're not asking him, you don't have to get into the 7th inning 1 run or less or 2 runs or less. Like, we really just need you to throw strikes. Like, just, we'll take the solo home run or 2 a game. It's just don't put yourself in a bad situation. And I think that he recognizes that. And I think that you do pitch more confidently whenever you know that this isn't going to necessarily come down to the first guy that scores for either team is going to win this game. Like, he knows that he's got a little bit of latitude with this offense, and they're holding it together as best they can with the injuries. They're fighting through it, guys with ups and downs. It's just nerve-wracking looking at how many series there still are to go. Where I'm thinking that the average Houston fan is more licking their chops thinking about how much time they have to close this out versus where Rangers fans, maybe, I feel like we have that reputation to where Mavericks fans get very nervous in big games. Cowboys fans get very nervous whenever you get down. I think the average Ranger fan is feeling pretty nervous about this race right now, and you definitely feel like the Rangers have the roster to get it done, but I mean, the history is what it is. The Astros have dominated the series of late, and I guess maybe you kind of luck out the fact that you only play Houston one more time early in September, and you're not going to have to face them potentially like the last series of the year, but you're still going to get Seattle 2 of the last 3 series to close out the season, along with 3 against the Angels. So it's just it's going to be a ride. There's no doubt. It's going to be fun to watch Scherzer today, 135 first pitch, and you're trying to salvage 1 against Milwaukee and try to end a 3-game losing streak. So even though that's not a significant losing streak, you still feel like, the Astros can pick up some ground very quickly. All right, that's a little Rangers talk. 10:54 here on the ticket. Let's take a peek into the World Wide Web next.
We'll do This Week in the Internet because I heard this story referenced during the Musers, and then perhaps they replayed. I know what it was. This is how I heard about it, because Corby replayed a very specific line from when Gordon talked about it, and as I think the headline, and Corby was in the car with his kid, the ones with the potty mouths, and was very taken aback by the headline. So I don't know any specifics about this story. I just know what it's about, and I'm very curious to know what the hell we're dealing with.
It was definitely a Gordo special.
Yeah.
One of those that you think, all right, this is definitely going to make the news, or
it's
one
usually
of his seggies.
Placentas or free bleeding or breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Usually doing something untowards with a body part.
Something that's going to make George uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Nursing home love, maybe. That's always going to make it.
Yeah, the fact that chlamydia runs rampant in your grandma's nursing home.
Yeah, which we all know, but we just pretend.
We all pretend that 70% of grandmothers have the clap.
Yeah. When freedom should allow them to do whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean, I was very aware that my grandparents were just slamming ass daily.
Well, that freedom, I think, has a limit here, Monty. And I think that's where this story enters. And we've got the report here from Fox 25 of Oklahoma City. And
red flag number 1.
I don't know where Del City is, but either way, we'll let the news team introduce this here. And we can stop this at any point if you feel the need to stop it.
City man is in jail tonight after police say he beat his sister to death at a playground.
Fox 25 Sarah Smith is live at Townsend Elementary where this all happened. Sarah, a shocking crime to say the least.
They're going over to Beirut, so it's going to take a little bit for the satellite to catch up here.
Yeah, Adam, police here say that the siblings were having sex on that playground that you were just talking about, and things went too far.
Wait, that's when
everything was fine apparently to the news team for a minute there. It's like, okay, let's see where this is going.
Her delivery on it is the best too. So matter of fact.
Yeah, can we rewind it and hear that part again?
Yeah, Adam, police here say that the siblings were having sex on that playground that you were just talking about, and things went too far.
So what does that mean? Did he not tap her on the head? Let her know what was coming?
All right,
if you will.
It's a serious, maybe the most serious story of the year.
I mean, I feel like if you can try a donkey punch on anyone, it's your own sister.
To slam deliciously.
Put that on a t-shirt.
A night of drugs, drinking, and incestuous sex.
All right.
Who among us, you know?
She wrote that and she said, that's my lead right there.
Yeah. So I'm going to make it out of Oklahoma.
This isn't just your run of the mill. This is going to win me an Emmy here. I need to put a little extra attention to my writing on this
Those are really
story.
hard to get too in local TV.
A night of drugs, drinking, and incestuous sex. Del City police say lands 27-year-old Cody Gard in jail for second-degree murder.
I believe the information that we have, we don't believe it was premeditated in any way. I think it was just kind of something that happened.
Cody.
Truly a crime of passion.
Well, I'm glad he didn't
Baldy.
go out that night planning to murder his sister after doing her.
On the playground.
On a playground.
Yeah, like...
Seesaw? Or
yeah,
slide?
I was going to say, like, what is on that slide that cop went down? And she just broke her neck and they blamed the brother.
A little added element of danger. No.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
okay.
I mean, what else do we have at the average kid's playground these days?
Monkey bars?
Jungle gym?
I just really hate we're having to tie this to a brother and sister going at it so hard.
I mean,
none of them kills the other one.
None of it's good.
By the way, Del City, Oklahoma, birthplace of JT Real Muto.
Really?
Yeah.
He always struck me as a dude who might be kind of into that.
Like what a charge there.
It's kind of like the Scottish twins, Del City and your sibling.
Incest is best. Just kind of something that happened.
Cody and his 18-year-old sister Heather.
Oh, 18-year-old sister.
Yeah, little. If you're gonna make it with your sister, don't be the Wander Franco of sisters because he was
Cody
much
and his
older.
18-year-old sister Heather in a relationship for years. Police say.
Well, a brother-sister relationship or more?
Saturday, the two went to have sex at the Townsend Elementary School playground, and it became abusive. According to documents, Cody admits to hitting and choking Heather. The two went home, and the next morning, she was unresponsive. Police say she was pronounced dead at a hospital. Investigators say they're familiar with this family.
We've crossed paths.
Yeah. I would imagine they've probably had a house call or two from the police before. If they're just that brazen.
Yeah, that's there's gateway crimes to murderous sex with your.
That's probably
your
not
brother.
That's probably not your first when Wash got busted for cocaine.
Right.
It's like, okay, Wash,
Yeah, I mean they may have jaywalked together first or sped first, and then maybe stole some gum from a convenience store, and then the next natural step, I suppose, is bang each other so much that you want to kill the other one. Yeah,
Classic
that about
sibling
looks like
stuff.
what I thought a guy who would kill
Did
his
all of
sister
that,
after
yeah.
doing it. Yeah.
Sex?
It kind of checks out for me there. Looks like the Aurora shooter.
That was my first thought too, actually, yeah. The miscolored hair.
Uh-huh.
I mean, what do you do with somebody like this? I mean, clearly they're supremely messed up. Clearly you've got serious mental issues. I don't know. I feel like he's probably not going to make it long in prison.
Because he's a murderer?
I mean, all of it. I doubt incest plays well in prison. It doesn't play well. And I don't know. I can't think of one place where it does play well other than
Alabama.
Gordo's Corner.
Yeah.
It plays pretty well there, but that's not going to go very far.
Yeah, he's not going to serve time in Gordo's Corner. So I don't know. I don't know if they view this. There's probably not as many people going to jail for that as there are chomos, but I don't know if that's something that gets you beat up.
I didn't realize chomo was a sanctioned shortening of child molester, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't. I'm trying to pick up the Sunday morning lingo.
It's not something Mino and I bantied about.
I don't get all of the references, but I've
when you're up against it,
you throw chomo.
You try to save as many words as you can.
The spike strip in the in the segment.
I originally heard that from the Office episode where Kevin's not saying as many words. Yeah,
not talk so many words. Make words good.
Exactly.
I thought we were leaving the office references to Sod. But
that's
okay.
true. I hate to do that. I hate to take that from him. Maybe I heard it from Tom Brady.
Okay, that's fair.
It was David Blau.
That's what it was.
So that's what's going on today in Oklahoma on the internet.
Yeah, that's
not good.
Yeah, I've tried to come up with a playlet for that thing. Just don't know that it'd be received very well.
Let's workshop it.
Yeah, maybe if his sister was like okay now. You know what I mean?
But I don't think that she's going to be okay.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to make it.
No.
So we'll leave it on the cutting room floor.
Pedo Man Montemayor.
All right. Where the hell did that come from?
2 weeks ago.
What were we talking about? Was that a Cowboy segment?
I don't know. You did something and you just kind of...
Probably something awesome. I was probably holding my phone lovely with the pop socket. Now I'm a different man. All right. Sunday brunch next. But right now, DJ, we stopped down for a little Sunday brunch.
Just in a DJ
to Sunday brunch on Work in Progress.
Stomp Center.
So, do you remember the old like Starberry shoes or like the Shaq shoes?
Absolutely.
Do you remember like what they would cost?
Like $40, right? Something.
I don't even think they were that much. Like 20 maybe.
Like real affordable.
I thought they were the cheapest things I had ever heard of. And then I heard that open.
I thought it was a good production value there.
And then I heard...
Come on.
I heard Bordoff Connor go over Mino and just go, DJ. And leave it in the open.
Look, it's a fine tradition to put very little effort into anything up here. That's the charm.
That was great. We had Junior on like a few months ago to do a top 5, bottom 5, and our open was Kevin going top 5, bottom 5 with Monty and Junior. I don't know.
And Kevin's
I love it.
And he's been promoted.
Yeah, that's right. Why
He's
not?
done such a good job at this production and sitting in that seat.
Yeah.
He's probably getting promoted.
Yeah. That's how you make your way around here.
So it really inspires us to really put a lot of effort into things. That's good enough. That's all you
I
need.
thought that was great. All right, so I want to start off here talking about good old Section 133. We haven't really had much opportunity to talk about it with Sean and Mino and myself during the week, and I want to kick it around a little bit. Not sure how you feel about it. If you don't know what that is, that's out at the ballpark. It's the Rangers attempt, I suppose, at kind of a rowdy section. They do roll call where they try to get all the players to acknowledge them. Doesn't seem like they're able to do that every game, because I don't know if we've had that more than one game this week.
Well, I was at this game where Emily Jones interviewed them. And in the first inning, it was a great atmosphere. They're roll calling, the players are responding, the atmosphere is great. But then they did it again in like the fourth inning, and then they did it again in the seventh. And I was like, okay, that's enough. You do roll call once.
Yeah.
But
the Yankees do roll call once. The Rangers have every inning we do roll call.
Every inning?
Yes.
Make sure everyone's here.
Yeah. It's like the wave. You go from section to section.
Well, then they also started the wave at some point.
Well, that's a good fan tradition.
But I'll say this. They gave it a great atmosphere. They were into the game. It's too many roll calls. You do one, and that's it.
Yeah. And that, the whole Yankee tie-in is why people have had some problem with it. I know the Hardline talked about it, and they played the audio of that dude from John Boy Media getting his panties in a wad about it. Not for me personally, not the best ambassador for that, because I watch a lot of John Boy Media stuff. I think they're a good baseball outlet. That particular guy is maybe my most hated media personality.
Just even before this?
Yeah. I cannot stand that guy. He's the least funny guy I've ever watched. But the problem is he thinks he's the funniest dude that you've ever seen. And he makes all these horrible, bad jokes in their videos. And he looks around looking for affirmation. No one laughs at him. So whenever I saw he was the face for Yankee anti-Ranger roll calling, it just dug me in that much deeper. Now, I hope, like I said, we do it all the time. I mean, would I prefer we come up with something original? Yeah, probably. But if you're just telling me we can have in any way, even if it is too much, some kind of notable atmosphere or something, I at least applaud an effort.
Well, and they were getting the "Come to Texas" chant going for Shohei that night. Like it was really fun. I'll say that.
Yeah, and I think that more often than not, whenever you go to big series at the ballpark, or maybe the Cowboys are the exception here, but I don't think that it's a slam to say locally that it's not always the passionate crowd. Like whenever the Dodgers come to town, the section that I was in the outfield for the game that I went to when the Dodgers were here, it was to my left, there were loud Dodger fans. To my right, there were loud Dodger fans. Right behind me, there was a family of Dodger fans. Like, they're loud. Padres fans, surprisingly, are loud. Cubs fans, just going down the list.
Mm-hmm.
Yankees, Red Sox, Astros, it's always a pretty rowdy crowd. Like, that's just not something I feel like we're really known for here. So even though I'm not going to be getting up and leading cheers or anything like that, like, I like people going out there and doing something different.
Did you ever do that at like lower levels of baseball, like high school? I mean, even I guess Little League and stuff. Like going to my brother's games and stuff and being a part of his high school games, I really enjoyed being loud. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, definitely when I was younger. It's definitely, I think, more of a young man's game too. But I mean, I just don't really see anything wrong with it, and I feel like almost it's kind of grandfathered in that, like, it is allowed, like, and it is something that can create a little bit of a difference. Like, I don't think anybody likes going and playing in Boston. I don't think. Maybe Yankees, it's a little bit different compared to the old stadium. It's not quite what it was, and certainly they haven't won anything in quite a while now, but there is something to an intimidation factor, and for the most part, the Rangers just generally don't have an intimidating crowd. Generally, the Mavericks, I don't think of them having a super intimidating crowd or a crowd that's going to be overly steeped in tradition or anything like that. Like, everyone's just kind of there to have generally a good time.
I will say, when they started the roll call up for the third time, from where I was in right field, I heard somebody in left field yell, "Shut the hell up!"
It didn't work.
Nope.
That's kind of the Rangers' MO, though. I mean, the Rangers don't really have a lot of great traditions, and I've really never had a problem crapping on Rangers' traditions because they've kind of done it themselves, to where they would play the Nolan Ryan and Ventura fight every night at the old ballpark. Like, they would really lean into that. A
lot of mileage out of that.
The Ruggie Odor thing, we've had a lot of fun with that. The team has kind of not been good since that happened for any extended period. And we look back and it's like, what are the high points of the franchise? It's Nolan Ryan had some good history at the end of his career, even though the teams were all bad. And then we've had two notable fights to where two of our players got the best of another guy in an on-field fight. And past that, I think of the ALCS, Neftali Feliz striking him out for, to advance to the World Series.
Getting A-Rod?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one comes to mind, and then Nelson Cruz going back to the wall and butchering it. And that's pretty much Rangers history.
Gotta have him out there to
nutshell.
celebrate,
Well, I mean, he earned it. Game's over anyway, so.
The only time I felt bad about doing something like that was when my brother's team, they had some kind of, I forget whatever they called it, but we went to a Rough Rider game. And this must have been back in 2010, maybe 2011, right around there. And we sat in the all-you-can-eat hot dog section or whatever, and that was in left field, which was right up at the barrier. And so I forget who they were playing, but the opposing team's left fielder was now the recipient of a bunch of high schoolers, and me trying to, for whatever reason, impress high schoolers by letting this left fielder for the opposing team have it. And we were relentless. And at one point we said, I think we're tapped out on insults for this guy. Let's start turning our cannons towards the women that bird them. And so Mom got involved, and Mom got verbally rammed between the top of the fifth through the bottom of the seventh. And then in early days of Twitter, I go look this dude up because I'm like, I wonder who this guy is.
The San Antonio Mission.
Yeah, and he wasn't a big guy. He never became anything. I don't even remember his name.
Not like you. Look at him now.
Yeah, I'm
Look
a big deal.
Now.
Yeah, just listen. And I went to look him up, and 6 weeks prior, or 2 months, I forget the exact time frame.
Oh no!
I read "It's been 1 year, Mom. Still miss you."
Oh no!
And all that dude heard for about 42 game minutes was 16 idiots up there calling her pretty much every name we could. And how that dude didn't catch a fly ball and hurl it to the left field stands,
whip it at y'all.
I have no idea. But I saw that and I immediately was like, dude, y'all need to back the F off right now.
As I imagine you would be the ringleader on something like that. Then you completely were turning the ship around. We're gonna.
Yeah. I was like, all right, not today, boys. I don't see anything about Dad. We can go for Dad. But Mom is off limits.
On second thought, none of this has been as funny as I thought it was, so let's just go ahead and stop.
Yeah, and I kept wondering why I saw him putting his hands up to his eyes.
Pull a handkerchief out.
Yeah, he's just wiping away tears. He has a big thing on his chest. It's Edna, whatever his mom's name was.
Edna. Keeps pointing to the sky.
And I was like, oh, you dating some old broad? Who's Edna, bro? Yeah, it was a bad look.
So maybe
there's got to be...
There's middle ground.
Right. There's
passion
something in the middle.
Passion for your team versus making fun of somebody's dead mother.
Right.
Like, where's the gray area in the middle there?
That's for Ranger fans to find.
All right.
There's a whole metroplex full of fans that can find that middle ground.
Yeah, but that Monty effect. Now Rangers are going to pick up on this. Now Rangers fans are going to pick up on this, and
they're just going to go to whatever section is closest to a player with a dead relative.
I mean, pretty much. Let's be fair. Pretty much everyone that has a dead relative of some kind. Yeah.
I mean, some great aunt's probably not going to.
Well, you work with
take you out of your game.
Whatever's going to throw them off. Whatever you have to do. Whatever gets this thing over the finish line for first place in the West.
Yeah, but I want to see someone, down the first baseline trying to dig up dirt on like Yohan Moncada. Be like, I don't know, man. I think he's got all his family there. Let's move. Let's go down. Let's go to left field.
There's got to be some trauma in this lineup somewhere.
Gotta be. You're doing it for the team. That's what I'm worried about, DJ. You should be with me. You wear their hat.
That's big of you. I buy their products. I buy their merchandise.
And I ridiculed their opponents.
Yes. You mock the dead relatives of their opponent. One of those probably does make more of a difference. I don't know which one, but it's a case study.
Yeah. Maybe the Del City guy will go play for the Marlins or something at some point. He's giving me a lot of fodder. I got plenty to say about him.
That would be quite the left turn in the story if for some reason since the arrest.
I mean, John Singleton had to take some time off and he's back with the Astros.
Like, look, we get these crimes are heinous, but
yeah,
the guy can touch 90. So
the Rays didn't pitch Dennis Quaid till he was 40.
All right, you're mixing up a lot of
I'm just saying he has
here.
time. He wasn't even 30 yet. But if he ever plays first base for the Marlins, I will be right there. And I will be ready.
Dead people.
What an infield that would be with Wander.
Indeed.
For Tampa?
Oh, yep. Sorry. Go to break.
Oh. Apparently Kevin Lander decides when we go to break.
To cover up his mistake, we're going to go to break for Kevin Landrum and do the whip around next.
Welcome back. This is Work in Progress version 2.0.
On the ticket.
With Monty and DJ.
Sorry, I was showing DJ the video of me falling out of my front door to avoid a wasp. And he was laughing at me.
Did you make it?
I did not.
Did you post it on X for everybody to see?
Yeah. I mean, it was a while back. I can repost it, but...
It's the hardest I've laughed at a
homeless person.
Handicapped person all day. Homeless person, not so much.
You didn't really make it better by saying a handicapped person.
Well, it was more accurate to say I was laughing at a handicapped person. I would never laugh at a homeless person. That's cruel.
No, he just, whenever he drives by him, he points at him and laughs and keeps going.
That's not true. I respect the unhoused more than anybody else on this show.
All right, calling them unhoused doesn't buy you anything either.
I think it does.
Libs.
They'd rather you hand them $1 and call them homeless than give them nothing and call them unhoused.
People arguing over what to call somebody. It's like, no, I'm more focused on the fact that I don't have a house. Don't really care.
Dude, can't give you any money. Too busy laughing at handicapped people.
Too busy culture warring everybody. Sorry. Gonna fend for yourself.
All right. Well, we have just a few minutes left here on our show, DJ. It's been a fun maiden voyage, technically. I know we did a show a few weeks ago, but...
I was out of content at least an hour and a half ago.
Really? Didn't sound like it.
Yeah.
Sounding pretty good so far.
That's the talent. That's the talent picking up the slack.
Yeah, making the hard sound easy. But here in our last segment, we're going to do what we call the whip around.
Whip around. Whip around, whip, 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 whip around.
And that's how I got promoted to producer for this show.
Remember the Starberry conversation we had 15 minutes ago?
Plug and copy paste.
Yeah. I mean, we don't get Conrad to do our opens. We get Lando and Connor.
Well, Lando also made the mess around of the whip around. I remember the original version too, so he's made multiple intros for this segment.
I did, but I had Deddy do the other one.
Oh,
but he tries to distance from Deddy.
That's
as much as he can.
Apparently, well, I thought it was good. I thought they were both good.
Yeah, I'll leave it up to them to play whichever one they prefer. But in our last segment here, a couple of other audio files.
Sure.
Whatever.
Clips.
Audio clips that we want to play. This was once again from whenever the Hardline had Max Scherzer on their show on Wednesday. This has not been replayed nearly as much. For one, more killer greatness, as he was as I mentioned, Max Scherzer, Bruce Bochy wrangler. He also had a hard time with the word acquisition.
So what do you think, Killer? What's the current situation to the best of your knowledge?
I was told a possibility of 330
For
Max.
For Maximilian Scherzer.
So like in 3 minutes.
Yeah, possibly.
But possibly not.
But possibly not. It could still stay down in the 4 o'clock. He's got like a media row thing he has to go do. He has to take team pictures, all the new trade acquisitions. Is it bad that as I'm saying it, I'm like, what am I doing?
Tradees. I like that.
Tradees. All the new trade acquisitions.
Tradees.
Yeah, the bad thing is for Killer, that's like the worst spot for him, because if he messes up a word, he gets jumped on more than anyone. And the Hardline, whenever anyone messes up a word, jumps on you more than anyone.
No doubt.
So when you put them two together,
it's magic.
You got to be on your toes, dude. You got to be ready. And they're just waiting for Killer to mess up, even though he is in Arlington sitting there in the balls heat waiting for their guests.
Devil's advocate here, though.
Okay.
It's not super high stress here for Killer in this situation, because he's been told the information of you might have Max Scherzer at this time, and that's literally all he can do. So he really is just there to relay the message from the Rangers, and it still was a little cumbersome getting to it. That's all I'm going to say. So
Yeah.
I'm imagining like Sergeant Killer, like in the field, like if the other commanding officers are trying to get an assessment from him, a timely assessment of like, okay, like what's next? Like,
what's Charlie doing?
Yeah, like where are the punji stick pits hidden? Like, we need to know right now.
Yeah,
and it's not easy for him to get it out there.
Well, luckily you're right. He's not on the front lines defending our freedoms. He's just getting baseball managers on the air.
Better real soldiers than us.
So another fun piece of audio from that interview with Max Scherzer was he told a story about his time with the Tigers. Early on, he was with Dontrelle Willis, who was at the end of his career, which, by the way, one of my all-time favorite pitchers. Love Dontrelle. Awesome. Leg kick, lefty, was a good hitter for a pitcher.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. One of my favorite bits was seeing him or Carlos Zambrano batting like 7th in their lineup. I was like, they're actually good hitters, man. I mean, they would bat like 240, but for a pitcher, it was incredible. But Scherzer told a story about farting and how D-Train farted back.
So there's a couple of clips here. I'll
Okay.
just set it up because they're kind of long.
Yeah.
Max Scherzer claims to be able to do fake farts really well with his hands, and
Good
so he
skill.
decided to play that trick on Dontrelle Willis.
So I get traded over to Detroit and sit next to Dontrelle was my locker mate, so I'm sitting next to him and just like he's reading the paper like we're in the morning. I just kind of like casually just like let one go, test the waters, like who am I working with here, and he kind of gives me this side-eyed look like what are you doing here? So I was like, okay, gotta do it. So then the next day I do it again. I kind of get the same thing. Next day I do it again. Next day I do it again. I mean, it's like now it's like 5 days in a row of now he's like fully convinced that it's real. And so now I have him like hook, line, and sinkered in. I'm like, all right, let's see how far I can take this. So like I said, I got him completely convinced. So one day he's had enough of it. Like, maybe I did it while he was eating. Like he finally was over it. Like you can't be doing it like while I'm eating. Like maybe I crossed the line. He really thought I crossed the line. So he gets up, sits on my lap, and just lets one just eat right in the middle of my lap. Like. That's where like, all right, time out. Dontrell, time out. Okay.
That one was real.
Like, I get it. I'm not mad at you. I get it. Just so you know, it's been fake this whole time. I promise. Like, I got you really good. Like, okay, we're good. Like, we're done.
That is awesome.
Let one eat. Never heard that. And then in his lap.
Just plopping down on the lap. That's a power move for sure.
Yeah.
It's also just kind of blows the myth of like, all right, these guys are locked in all the time and they're taking every loss as hard as the fans are. No. Scherzer's playing the long game on these.
He's trying to figure out if he can get away with hand farting.
With Dontrell Willis.
Which probably is a pretty good icebreaker to, figure out if you're, shackled up with somebody who does bits or not. Like, that's up there as far as if he's willing to deal with that, we can probably be pretty cool.
I also like him, like that's one of the first impressions that he's making as part of the Metroplex. Like, this is, like, y'all want a good story. Like,
Yeah.
it's a story that encapsulates my
Absolutely.
Hall of Fame career and who I am. This is it.
I mean, this city's basically a methane cloud anyway. It's just nothing but beef and onion rings. You might as well endear yourself.
I like onion rings.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I know. I've seen the smog across the Dallas skyline. So I want to play this too. This is one of my favorite killer moments. Like, one of the actual NIT breaks, this is going to get really confusing, was him trying to read a 40-liner. He had forgotten that he had one coming up. He deleted the email where they were written or where they were sent to him, which is a big change. We used to have them all in a binder, and you just pull it up, and it was no problem. Now you got to find your email from Sky. He didn't have that available. It was all funny. Hijinks were had. But my favorite one, I think, ever was, I forget if I was working with Mino or Machine, but Killer was our producer, and he had been trying to get ready for this 40-liner basically all day. Like, whenever you had a show produced by Killer or Trey, you would look in there, and all they would be doing is practicing their 40-liners because they didn't want to mess up.
Trying to nail it.
They wanted to make sure when it's their time to shine, they got it. And so Killer had one for Witch, and they had like a code for My Witch. And I forget if it was him or me or the combination, but we kept telling him, say my bitch, say my bitch, say my bitch. And he would say, no, I'm not doing that. But then the Freudian kicked in.
Brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue and Sports Radio 1310 and 96.7 FM, The Ticket.
Log on to theticket.com to win a $100 gift card to Witch. Grab a bag, grab a Sharpie, and say, my bitch, my witch, my way.
What?
At any of the 30 DFW Witch locations. Dang it, Mino. He's sitting back here saying that the entire time.
That's a weird text to send.
Say my witch, my way. At any of the 30 DFW Witch locations. I hate you, Mino.
Which one is it? Is it the first one you said or the second one?
Boy, I
so
could hear the sweat too, just pouring off his face.
Yeah. And he went to like that weird Killer cadence where he's talking normal and then, my bitch. And then we all just lost it. It was me and Machine, and Mino was on the board. That's what it was. So I kept telling Mino to say that to him, and he'd do it.
My bitch.
And the song playing in the background, so dumb.
And it's for free sandwiches.
Hey.
Why exactly would I send that?
Why would I say my bitch? That doesn't make sense. Oh, it was funny. Oh, Killer, we love you. You're the best weekend schedule maker I've ever been a part of.
What do you think Max
Ever.
Scherzer came away thinking of Killer? Be like, man, that guy's got things figured out.
He's probably a top dog over there.
Yeah, they
real
must
mover
have,
and shaker.
They must have sent their finest out here to wrangle us today.
Killer here.
Yeah. They would only send their best messenger.
Yeah, to talk to me and Boch, I mean.
Then he kicks them in the hole in the middle of Sparta. All right. I'm done making 300 references, and we're done with our show for the day. We will be back next Sunday from 9 until noon. DJ and I having fun. See you then.
My bitch.
YouTube.com/@SportsGreek